Hello everyone, welcome back to our cozy little corner of the internet. I'm Pen, and today I'll be reading This Life We Could Have Lived, This Life Was Made For Us by Zena Lemon. This is chapter 2 called Human and Its Unknown Definition. The summary for this chapter is Darzai isn't the only one who woke up in shock. Let's get into it because I just recorded the last chapter and I want to keep recording, so let's go. Chapter 2. What the fuck? Chuya had experienced a lot of strange things, from growing up on the streets to having a literal god of destruction live inside you. He thought he'd seen it all, but when Chuya woke up this morning, he wasn't expecting this. His piercing blue eyes fluttered open as he stretched, feeling quite well rested. In fact, he felt too well rested. He doesn't think he's ever felt this light before. His breath hitched as his eyes widened with the realization. Arabaki is gone. Chuya was used to the almost constant thanks to the macro and his ability, looming weight of Arabaki on his consciousness, and yet it's completely gone. He quickly turns his head, making sure the brunette isn't around, nullifying the guard, but Chuya is completely alone in the room. Completely. He sat up in the bed, his eyes wide, darting around the bedroom he didn't recognize. Pictures of contents Chuya could not see from the bed littered the walls and a few surfaces. A few trophies sat on the shelf above the wooden desk and papers and books spread across it. Chuya cringes at the messily thrown papers, slowly stepping out of bed. His body felt lighter, not shorter, thank God, but lighter. He felt his body, his hand wrapping around his arm, noticing his lack of muscle. What the hell? His eyes traveled back to the desk, slowly approaching it, as some of the papers came into his view. His eyes were immediately drawn to a postcard from Tokyo, leaning over the desk to grab it and inspecting it further. Before he can even flip over the card, his attention was brought to his bright orange hair barely draping over his shoulder, peeking out of the corner of his eye. The fiery locks brush up against his neck, resting on his trapezoid muscles. It would be normal for Chuya, and it definitely once was, when he was 17. His hair barely stops at his shoulder, way shorter than he remembers it being. He drops the postcard, turning to the ensuite bathroom and flicking on the lights as he stared into the mirror above the sink. What the fuck? He gasps as he studies his reflection. Staring back at himself in the mirror, he sees his 17-year-old self staring back. Chuya ignores the voice in his head that taunts him, sounding a lot like Darzai. Of course he didn't notice at first, you haven't grown at all since then. Curse that bastard for not leaving him alone even in his own mind. His blue eyes met his reflections as he stares at it dumbfounded. He blinks, breaking himself out of the daze as a faint sound of footsteps emanates from the other side of the bedroom door. There's a faint knock before an all-too-familiar voice speaks up. Chuya, are you up yet? Koya's voice is like music to Chuya's ears as he's given some sense of familiarity. The door opens a crack and light spills into the room, revealing a pink-haired woman. It was definitely Koyo, but not Chuya's Koyo. She looked a bit older, not dressed in her usual ornamental and traditional clothes, wearing a more casual and comfy outfit. Of course she was still gorgeous, but she looked especially homey. Chuya didn't know what to say. None of this felt right, yet so right at the same time. Koyo broke the silence. Good morning, lad. I just wanted to make sure you were up. She spoke in a caring tone, one that Chuya wasn't a stranger to, but it was still a nice surprise when it happened. Good morning, Koyo. Excuse me? For the first time in a while, Chuya feels true fear. Koyo? Chuya, I know I raised you better than this. You know not to call your mother by her name. Koyo's voice was stern, but also concerned, but Koyo has this stern but also concerned look on her face. Mother. As much as Chuya was extremely confused by all of this, The term briefly created warmth in his chest. The idea of a family was something Chuya never had a good time with. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Chuya finally stutters out, not wanting to anger her. Koryo's expression softens, replaced by that concerned look. She feels his forehead with the back of her hand. Are you alright, lad? I'm fine. Why? Chuya tries to hide his discomfort behind her face of normalcy. Are you sure you're not sick? It'll be a shame to miss today, but you can stay home if you really want to. If you're really sick, you can stay home. What's today? I'm fine, really, Chuya reassures her, wanting to find out more about today and, more importantly, what's going on. Alright, Koryo still looks concerned but tries to loosen up. She gently closes the door, not before flipping on the lights and practically blinding Chuya with the sudden shift from darkness to the bright light. His hand comes up to cover his eyes. God damn it. Chuya eventually makes his way back to his desk, going through the papers now that they're in proper lighting. His eyes landed on that postcard again, a small postcard on the ground from when he dropped it before. He picks up the thick cardstock, flipping it over before freezing. His eyes immediately filled with water as they land on the signatures. His friend's signatures, the flag's signatures. The small letter on the back read, Hey Chuya, hope your third year's going well. I remember how much of a pain of an ass it was, haha. College is going well. I still can't believe your brother started dating before any of us. It's actually so unfair. But they obviously have something good, so they win this time. I guess I would write more on this postcard, but it's so damn small. See you this summer. The paragraph was signed by Albatross and then all of the other flag's members' names below it. Chuya felt like he was transported back in time, yet to a time that wasn't his own. He knew all these people, Koryo, the flags, and apparently Valerian, who weren't his versions of them. And Chuya so desperately wanted this to be his. He wanted this life, and he didn't even know half of it. The fact that the flags knew Valerie in this universe gave him a sick feeling in his stomach, but to keep himself from worrying for their life, he tries to hope that Valerian isn't like that here. That this universe's Chuya won't have to wait for a summer reunion that will never come. But it's hard to think about people having a healthy connection and friendship when something like that happened in his own universe. He wipes his eyes with his sleeve, getting back to business. He observes the information he can get from the letter, his appearance, and his previous conversation. 1. He's currently around 17 and in his last year high school. 2. Koryo is his mother. Valerian is actually his brother. So that's a weird family tree. He still has the flags, and they're currently at some college in Tokyo. But Valerie and his boyfriend? Oh, Chuya knows who that is. Seems like the flags weren't the only people who didn't die in this universe, thankfully. He looks around the room looking for more clues, deciding to inspect the shelves and multiple framed photos along them. He takes a mental note to go through his phone on the nightstand as well. He finds a photo of 4 figurines, almost instantly recognizing all of them. One of them, of course, being himself, this world's version of himself, and then the other 3. Oh, this is weird. He observed the photo, finding it a tad odd to see a teenage version of himself in Dazai, next to teenage versions of Octogawa and the Were-Tiger, considering their age differences. Chuya tried to ignore the strange pain in his chest when he saw Dazai. How happy he looked. He doesn't care about that bastard. Totally. No way. You know what? He just needs to get ready, so let's move on. Chuya notes how he's dressed in the photo and how he wears his school uniform he found in the closet and tries to match to a T. He slips on the dark pants, White button-down, dark blue tie, black veracity chest, and then of course the leather choker. Some things never change, and it seems like no matter what universe Chuya's in, he can't escape that bastard. Who he's gonna stop thinking about before those feelings start up again. He looks at himself in the mirror, seeing a normal teenage boy staring back at him. Not a Port Mafia member, not a vessel for Arabaki, a normal human teenage boy. He shakes his head and arms, snapping himself out of his daze as he finds the backpack resting against his desk. It is mostly empty, except for a few unused supplies and a sheet of paper. Chuya grabs the paper, recognizing it as a schedule. He freezes as his eyes meet the first line. AP Chemistry, Ugai Mori. Dazai and Oda sat in comfortable silence, each eating their breakfast as Odasaku read something on his phone. Dazai couldn't remember the last time he was this comfortable just sitting with someone else. There was always something that made it a challenge, whether he has to keep up a mask or deduce the other person's entire life and motives. He doesn't get a lot of chances to just be. The last time was probably those 4 years ago with the same person. Are you ready for today? Odasaku breaks the silence, turning off his phone and setting it on the table to give Dazai his full attention. Dazai hums, his mouth full of food. This was also quite new for Dazai, eating a proper meal. I hope it goes well, and say hi to Chuya for me, Odasaku adds. Now that's definitely new. Odasaku didn't even know Chuya in his original universe, and good riddance. Dazai trusts Odasaku, but he doesn't know if he would be able to keep a straight face if he met the boy Dazai constantly gushed and complained about. Especially since he always had this annoying smirk whenever the redhead brought it up. It annoyed Dazai quite a bit. I will. Dazai swallows his food with a gulp and cleans his plate sitting in front of him. It kind of astonished him how he was able to finish a whole meal, just like that. There was something about this universe that made him feel a lot more healthy, responsible even. He knew this sense of emotions had increased, but it seems his will to actually take care of himself increased as well. He shakes his head softly, dispelling the thoughts as he stands up and puts his plate, setting it in the sink. You should probably head out soon, especially if you want to get there before Chuya, Odasaku mentions as he checks the time, a hint of amusement in his voice as he brings up the redhead again. Why does he keep talking about Chuya? Yeah, judging from the photo, they're obviously friends, but what's so special about that slug? Dazai nods, walking back to his minimally decorated bedroom and slinging the backpack over his shoulder. He grabs his phone that, thankfully, has facial recognition so he can unlock it, and his schedule off his desk. He looks at the schedule, finding the school's name at the top, and types it into maps. It's within walking distance, the closest route being along a small road from the apartment complex he and Odasaku are living in. He wonders what exactly his relationship with Odasaku is. If he's adopted? What if they're blood related? If it's blood related, then is he his brother or what? He would love to keep thinking over his connection with Odasaku, but he's cut short. His eyes glancing over the first line of the schedule. AP Chemistry, Ugai Mori. What the fuck? He sighs as his eyes continues down the page as he starts to realize where this is going. Theatre, Edgar Poe and Nikolai Gogol. Government and Economics, Yukichi Fukasawa. AP Calculus, Dopoku Nikita. Russian, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dazai scoffs. Looks like Odasaku isn't the only person who isn't 6 feet under in this universe. Homeroom and lunch. Yukichi Fukasawa. English 12, Rumpo Edogawa. Health Science, Akio Yoshino. Dazai all the familiar names listed on his schedule. Well, he thought to himself, this is going to be interesting. Hey everyone, that was chapter 2 of The Life We Could Have Lived. This Life Was Made For Us by Zena Lemon, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I love this. This is just amazing. It's really good, and I hope you stay along with the next chapter. I'm going to type all this up now. I'm going to type up all the descriptions and stuff because I've done 2 chapters in a row. And anyway, see you guys next time. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.